My name is Diego Sepulveda Duque. I'm a transformational life and consciousness coach. I'm happy to have you here again. Today I will be touching on Greek mythology and personal growth. It's an interesting correlation. I promise you that it's a segment that you're going to enjoy, a subject that is going to inspire you and have you asking questions about yourself. We're going to talk about the story of Perseus, the traits Perseus used to sort of inspire, achieve his goals in his endeavors. Perseus was born to Danae, and this took place in Argos, Greece. Argos was just a place that was ruled by King Acrisius. King Acrisius had a daughter named Danae. Danae was a very beautiful woman. King Acrisius was very disappointed. He was upset. He was questioning the gods because she was a female. And his dream was to have a son, somebody that will rule over after him. But he was mad with the gods. He was saying, hey, why did I have a daughter and not a son? Acrisius thought about killing Danae. It sounds bizarre. How can a father kill his own daughter? Well, Acrisius questioned it, didn't know how to solve that problem of him not having a son. Because he had so much respect for the gods, what he chose to do was actually lock Danae in a kind of like a prison. It was really an underground home. It was made out of bronze. She was basically locked in this bronze, secluded basement. There was no roof over that basement, that home. She could only see the clouds and the sky. She spent all her time being locked as a prisoner, and she will look up at the sky and the clouds. That was the only thing she was able to do. She spent countless hours, weeks, just being locked away as a punishment for not being a male. You can imagine she was in a very negative state. There were times when she was feeling depressed, sad, agony, boredom. Well, this is where the story of Perseus starts. The myth has it that Zeus visited Danae in the form of golden rain. Again, the only thing that she had access to was the sky. Zeus came through the sky, golden rain. How she knew that it was Zeus, we don't know. It's not described in poems. This story is being passed down through poems in the form of golden rain. He is divine, and through her, he was able to have a son, Perseus. She was raising Perseus in this basement, in this locked, secluded area. For a few weeks, her father did not even know that she bore a son. Had heard a prophecy that said that in his line there will be a son. That prophecy, and that's why also he was scared, that prophecy also said that he was going to be killed by that male figure. He will visit Danae every now and then. He will visit her to make sure she was fine. Of course, it was his daughter, but he didn't know she had Perseus, and she hid him. When he found out that she had Perseus, he was very astonished. He had a surprise, and he didn't know how to react. He was very upset. She tried to explain to him that he was a son of Zeus, but he was not very happy that she had a son. He was just very confused. What he did as a form of punishment, again, King Acrisius was very afraid of hurting her and now hurting the son because of his respect to the gods. He was very respectful to the gods. What he decides, instead of killing them, he is gonna banish them and he's gonna send them into the ocean. He builds this boat that has a form of a treasure, and he puts both Perseus and Danae and in that treasure and just sends them over onto the sea. He ships them off, and they're basically just on the wild waves of the ocean. She was very afraid. She couldn't see much. All she could hear was the waves, and she could feel the rustling, the violent movements of the waves just shaking them. As you can see, there's an element that is an analogy to your life. There's times when we face challenges, uncertainties, and perhaps we might not see a way out, how things can change. They were in the ocean. They were essentially just floating on this treasure, on this wooden boat, and they couldn't see much. It was like a chest. It was locked. It was very unsettling. They were afraid, alone. It's dark. You may be asking yourself, how is this situation similar to your life? What are your struggles? What are you going through? As you can see, from an early age, Perseus was having challenges. It wasn't a smooth sail for him. They were just being drifted by the waves wherever the waves took them. Danae, she just felt like they were probably going to be stuck in there forever. She had a very realistic thoughts. They had no idea where they were going. They came across a spot where they were surrounded by islands. Many people argue that it was Zeus who actually, out of pity for his own son, divinely guided them to be there in a place where they could be found. This is another element that in my life, it's a belief that I think guides me and empowers me, is that I believe in divine guidance. When we are going through life, we always have that divine presence, that divine guidance guiding our lives. You can call it God, you can call it Jesus Christ, you can call it Buddha. That's personal to you. I do believe that we all are ordained when we just let go and surrender. Zeus was basically guiding them, and sure enough, that chest boat came to a standstill and it hit a solid ground surface. That solid ground surface was an island. It was a fisherman who actually found that boat. The fisherman's name was Dictys, and he broke the chest. To his surprise, he found Danae and Perseus. He was confused. They were under very harsh conditions, and he was happy to offer them a home and help them. He had such a great heart, such a kind person, that he was able to take both Danae and Perseus. He helped raise Perseus. You can call it divine will or just the kindness of somebody's heart. Perseus was raised in that island. Dictys served as I wouldn't say a father figure because he had his wife, but an uncle who was very close and cared about him, and Danae. Danae and Perseus are very grateful, very thankful. Somebody rescued them from the uncertainty, darkness, the dangers of the ocean. He grew up in this island. It turns out that Dictys' brother was actually the king of that island, King Polydectes. King Polydectes never really took notice of Danae, never really noticed her until a few years passed. Then something in him just said, oh, she's beautiful, I want to marry her. He had an obsession for wanting to marry this beautiful Danae. Zeus was drawn to her and they bore a son. You can imagine she's almost a goddess or a beautiful woman. King Polydectes becomes obsessed with her and he wants to pursue this woman. However, he never really liked Perseus. He never liked him. He didn't want him to be near his mom. We don't know exactly why, but he wasn't fond of Perseus. The story tells that he tempted Perseus. He knew Perseus was a young man. He had this warrior traits. As a young man, he wanted to show how courageous you are, especially to a king. King Polydectes has a feast. He's looking to celebrate his marriage. He wants to make a celebration because he wants to announce that he's getting married. He has all these different princes or this royalty with him. He invites Perseus to bait him, to tempt him, to deceive him. Everyone brought presents or gifts on that occasion except Perseus. He used that as a weak point. To me, it's just another challenge. We all face different challenges in life where we're just tempted. We don't know what we're getting into. He tempts him and he says there is this island where there's three creatures, the Gorgons, and he says, hey, Perseus, nobody has been able to defeat one of them. There are many warriors, many people have tried to go over there where on that island where there's three Gorgons or three beasts. One of them is Medusa. He's saying my biggest gift for this wedding will be to have the head of Medusa, who was the only one mortal. These Gorgons, keep in mind, they're just gigantic creatures. They have their body full of golden scales. They have snakes as hairs, basically snake heads just twirling around. And they also have wings, and they're just vicious creatures. As a young man, Perseus was just, yeah, I'm going to do it. He was courageous enough, and we have to give Perseus a lot of credit because he was a very courageous. This is another trait, courage. When you want to achieve or become a person of character, of success, when you want to achieve something great in your life, you must have a lot of courage. That's a characteristic or a trait that he very well displayed. He took the challenge on. He didn't know how he was going to achieve this. A lot of warriors have never survived against Medusa or the Gorgons. And so he set sail on his feet. It's not written on any poems. How he was going to do that, it was just very difficult because he was just a very small figure just going against this beast. This is where I think he was asking for answers. He was asking for divine intervention. Sure enough, he had the company and support of two Greek gods that helped him and guided him through this difficult and challenging time. Where is he going to get the help from? He can't do it alone. The first god that descends upon him and guides him, this god is Hermes. Hermes is one of the Greek gods. When Perseus first saw Hermes, he saw this good-looking young person. He was fair-skinned, strong, just somebody who exuded beauty, just muscular. He had a helmet with two wings. He also had sandals with wings, and he also carried this kind of like a trident that had wings on it. It was like a gold rod with two wings on it. He was somebody that when you saw Hermes for the first time, you are astonished about how beautiful, young, strong, and how he's displayed physically, what his ornaments are. Perseus was very astonished. He was very curious to find out who that person was. Hermes introduced himself to Perseus and said, "Hey, I'm here to help you. You're not alone." Again, is that divine guidance. And Hermes provides Perseus with a sword. It's a sword that will never be broken. It cannot be bent. It is a sword from the Olympus. That was one element, and I'm touching on this element because we're going to touch on a different trait that you can use for inspiration, a trait that you can use yourself, you can use in your life to create better results, to transform your circumstances, to create the life that you desire. That was the first god that became known to Perseus. The second one was Athena. We're all familiar with Athena, Greek goddess. I don't have to make a full description of Athena. Athens is named after Athena. Very powerful goddess. She also appeared to Perseus and she gifted him a shield. It was a bronze shield that she used as a buckler for her waist. Athena said to Perseus, "You're going to use this shield." Medusa, as you may know, she will curse people just by looking at them, and when she will look into someone, she will turn that person into stone. It sounds like she's able to instill fear. That's what fear does in our lives, where we just are stone and we freeze and we don't know what to do. I think Medusa's big curse can be an analogy to just being able to instill this great amount of fear in people. People will turn into stone. Athena said to never look into her eyes, never look into Medusa's eyes, because you will be cast into stone. What you're going to do is use this bronze shield and you're going to look at Medusa through the reflection. You're never looking straight into Medusa's eyes. That's another element of what it takes for you to accomplish goals. It's focus. What she said was be focused on the objective. Don't look straight into fear. Focus on that shield, on that reflection. As you approach Medusa, you're going to keep your face on the shield. You're going to be focused on that reflection. Perseus was not yet ready to look for the Gorgons. Not yet. He wasn't ready. It does take a time of preparation. I'm using the analogy to life, and things don't just happen the moment we want them to. It takes preparation for the right moment, the right opportunity. You do your job, you put in the effort, you are disciplined, you focus. It took some time for Perseus to develop. Along that time, Hermes said, you should go to this separate island There's many islands, there's a lot of water in this story. But he said, go to where the nymphs are. They will have more information, they will have something that they will share with you. To summarize, Perseus took a few detours. He visited the great women, and they guided him through where the nymphs were. When he found the nymphs, they were dancing to flutes, to musical instruments. They welcomed him and they helped him as well. They provided 3 additional resources for him so that he can accomplish his mission or his task. Those 3 items were, he got a wallet. This wallet will basically expand and contract. It could reach an infinite size. He also got a helmet. This helmet, when he will put it on, he will become invisible. Nobody will be able to really see him. It will help him in his endeavor. He also got sandals that had wings on them, kind of like what Hermes was wearing. That way he can levitate, he can fly over the Gorgons. We're seeing some other elements. This is very symbolic. Those elements represent resources. You have to be resourceful in life. This is the metaphor. Going to make a just small pause here and ask you, what are your resources? What are the resources that you're using in your life, in your everyday activities, in your challenges? How are you being resourceful? If you want to take note and write down, how are you being resourceful? That'll be great. Back to Perseus. He went on and he had all the resources ready. Again, he was being divinely guided through this challenge as he headed over to where the Gorgons were. Perseus saw them and he was very afraid, he was scared. But he kept in mind what Athena told him, which was never look directly into Medusa's eyes. Her gaze will cast upon you that curse, and again, that curse is just fear. You don't want to be in fear forever. As we talked about, he was very focused. He had his objective in mind. It was tunnel vision. He listened to Athena and he was looking at that reflection on the shield. As he was looking on that shield, he slowly drew closer to where the Gorgons were. He got so close where he was right in front of Medusa, and he had that sword which was unlike any other. It wouldn't break, it wouldn't bend. He was looking directly into a reflection. He was not looking into Medusa directly. This time Athena actually took his hand and she directed him. He was surrendering to Athena's will. It wasn't his own will. He took all the action, but he was in a position of surrender where you're surrendered to this divine will in his life. He didn't even move. It was all Athena's guidance and movement that just helped him slay Medusa's head. Again, want to make a pause and ask you, are you surrendering into God's will? We are in this path that we call life. We have choices. When we surrender and we just let go of our control, things will happen that wouldn't happen on our natural terms. He took Medusa's head, and that was the trophy he had. Remember, he was doing this as he was tempted by King Polydectes, and he's like, okay, I have the head. He put it on that wallet that we talked about that will fit any size, will shrink and expand. He took that head with him. The story doesn't quite end there yet. We are closing in on it. He goes back to where I call him Uncle Dictys is, and where King Polydectes, he looks for his mom and Danae and Dictys, and he's unable to find them. They've been banished because Danae refused to marry King Polydectes. To me, it's an example of integrity. Danae was very true to herself, to her own beliefs, and never compromised her beliefs. She was very firm, and that has some consequences. She was banished to a secluded area again when Perseus showed up at the court where King Polydectes was, because he knew he was a tyrant. He had oppressed people. He was not a very nice king. What Perseus did was he took out Medusa's head and he cast the king and his servants in stone. He's using these resources. I mean, I'm not condoning any violence against anyone. He was using his inner resources to help the people. He did have a noble cause. We have this king who's a tyrant and he's now cast into stone. Perseus decides to go back to Argos, where his grandfather was, King Perseus. On his way, he meets Andromeda. He actually saves her from a sea serpent. He's able to find his mom. They move back to Argos. Other things happen in Argos. One of the things is he accidentally kills his grandfather in an athletic competition. It's not something that he intended. It was not something that he planned or devised. By accident, he cast this disc in an Olympian competition, and it hit his grandfather. He fulfilled a prophecy. Again, this is not to endorse any form of violence. Like you can see, he faced many challenges through his life. Even when he had already accomplished his major feat, he led more challenges in his life. But that's the story of Perseus. I love this story because it has a lot of traits that we can all get inspiration from, traits that we can use as empowerment or disempowerment. The answer is, and like I've talked in one of my previous videos, it's beliefs. Are your beliefs empowering or are they disempowering? To sum up, the traits that Perseus displayed that can help you in your life are courage. He is divinely guided and he surrendered into a higher energy or God's will to accomplish his feats. He was courageous. He had noble causes. He had many challenges, so did his mom. There were times when he was uncertain, when there really was no way out. He was able to accomplish something that was way beyond his strength, his natural human abilities. I'm going to ask you, in what ways do you think you're being divinely guided? And if you want to take notes, that's fine. How is life guiding you? Do you believe that the world or the universe is out for you and that you're protected? Are you also being resourceful? Are you using all the resources that you have to maximize your potential as a person, creator? Are you being resourceful? Are you also being courageous? Are you taking steps to overcome what's holding you back? Are you surrendering? Are you just letting go of control and letting God or the universe direct your path? The other element I touched on, it was fear. Are you looking into Medusa's eyes and being cast in stone? Are you taking challenges? Are you being focused on the shield, on that reflection of Medusa and not her eyes? Are you focused on what you can accomplish instead of what you cannot accomplish? Those are some of the questions that I want you to think about. I know this story can be open to different kind of interpretation. I do think that this is a very beautiful story that has guided me to take actions through the path of life. I do want to thank you, and I hope you found something of value in this conversation today. So thank you. I really hope that you found some value in today's video and that you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I am a life coach, and if you want to book me, you know where to find me. Thank you and stay tuned. I'll be happy to create more content for you.